Oh shit! I'm looking at my computer.
My standards is my self-esteem. This is Peter or Peter. I'm banking on your standards being a lot lower than mine. I got the perfect one for you. This is Becky. She loves balls. This is, oh my God. Why are you on a cat? I appreciate the finer things in life, such as having no pimples and getting out of work early. The only thing I can think about is that big ass cat. One hell of a guy, outstanding gentleman, New York Times, Washington Post. My ass. This is Amy. I don't know if she's doing the 100 sweater challenge. My third photo is me wearing 21 shirts, and I also do anal. Oh, this is Heather. Which one is Heather? My nickname is Gillette because I'm the best a man can get. Also, I will cut you. This is Matthew. What are you doing? No, what is that person doing in the background? Up in the cloud? Oh, yeah, if you're into chins, probably not the best place to start. This is Pete. Oh, gosh, I'm scared. I am scared to read Pete's stuff. Things you need to know about me. First off, if we go out, you're paying, not just for me, but for my wife if she shows up. And she's a drinker. Sex isn't guaranteed after that. If I'm interested, I'll place my underpants on the table right in front of everybody. Damn, boy, you must be my GPA because I know I could do better. I'm just too lazy to actually try. This is Nagok. Oh, okay. Y'all set me up for that one. I love a long walk on the beach and small tender. All right. She says, my favorite thing to do is cut and watch Netflix. It's like cuddling and watching Netflix, but with Noel. Oh my God. You win everything. Is that all it takes? Do you like men with big... Yeah. Sorry, I wasted your time. Someone messaged Lena Ray and said your name backwards is ear anal. I'm the good thing small packages come in. I'm vegan too. Wait a minute. Okay, I haven't did Tinder before, but you can message people? I know this is a little late in the game because I just read about 6 of them. No way. Yeah, that's why I swiped right. That's amazing. How long have you been vegan for? Start of this conversation. Want to have sex? No. Why not? Too forward. Check. You are too. Okay, now we can. I just saw the best up sexy ever. Wait, what's up sexy? Oh wow, I really just did that. I just got that. I gotta try.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here tonight with we're talking about dating apps, and that's what you just saw. Some of the weirdest shit that came off of POF and Tinder and BLK and Hinge, Black People Meet, Facebook, dating. Am I missing anything, Miss Steph?
Okay, Cupid, Coffee Meets Bagel. That's all I can think of. Match.com, an old school one. Bumble.
Oh shit, how did I forget my favorite? ChristianMingles.com and Farmers Only. I tried Farmers Only back in the day because I wanted some like free vegetables. But anyway,
how did it go?
I don't have any vegetables.
Okay. Okay.
But tonight y'all have Miss Stephco with me. Tell them about yourself, Miss Steph, before we get into this.
Yes, I have a YouTube channel here that on YouTube, and I post about a lot of different things. But I think some of my most popular posts have been where I talk about my dating experiences. Most of them have been a little a little scary. So I do some story times that people like from time to time. I also do like commentary. So I did, I react to like different movies and films and stuff. I did a video where I talked about that movie, The Tender Swindler, because I had recently gotten off the apps and I was like, well, this is one of the reasons why, because I also have been sucked in by a con man via the dating apps. So yeah, so I just content creator, and Rod reached out and was like, we should chat sometime. So I said, yes, I will chat. Hmm,
Cool. Well, if y'all don't remember her face, that was her video that was played when I had a good doctor on here, Dr. Perry on here, when we was talking about who were those guys listening to, and that's how I found her with her whole Kevin Samuels thing that she threw on. Um, and so now she's here today. We wish we could have had you there that day, but now we have you here today to talk about, these dating apps, how not, first and foremost, or like we was in the back, we were talking, I never seen a Tinder swindler. So what was that about? And then you said you were almost swindled by this. So like, what was that about?
It was about this guy who was able to he was a cute guy, and he basically would love bomb these women. Love bombing is like you give people a lot of attention and you make them feel very special so that you can build a really deep connection with them very fast. And then when he knew that they had his trust, he was then like, hey, I've got these people that are after me. Oh, by the way, he tried to pass himself off as like an heir to a diamond family. He was going by a fake name. It wasn't even his real name. And so he, convinced these women that he had all of these things. And then all of a sudden one day he didn't have any money. So he'd be like, hey, I need you to help me out just for a little bit. I have these enemies that are after me and my family. And the women who were already in love with him after just a very short time of knowing them, because he was like a sociopath, they gave him some of them gave him upwards of $40,000. Like they lost their homes. They live with their families now, even though they're like in their mid 30s because they don't have any money. And he would take one woman's money and use it to spoil and treat another woman. And eventually he found somebody who could play the game, and she got him arrested, but he was released after like 5 months. And now he makes money on social media. He does like Cameo, where he sells videos of like him saying hi to people or whatever. But I think he's about to be sued for something else. So he's like always in and out of jail. So it's a true story, very real guy. Took advantage of these women and took their money and didn't want to give it back. And yeah, it was a mess.
Well, the last thing I saw, I never saw the movie like I stated to you, but I saw something last week that said he hired an agent and he wants to go and have his like own flavor of love or some shit like that. He wants to do now. He wants to have his own
Honestly,
show.
he gets my blood pressure so high that whenever I see anything about him that's not he's going to jail, I just scroll past it. I can't. Like he still owes these people tons and they have voice recordings of him on like saying, send me this. They have the text. Like that's what Netflix used for the movie. They have evidence. Why isn't this man in jail still? Anyway, so yeah, but I have heard something like that too. Like he's still trying to make a career and he's not locked up. So yeah, but that's the Tinder swindler.
So you stated that you were almost swindled yourself.
This was one of my dating stories.
Well?
It was Tinder too. Yeah, I met this guy and he same thing, like very quickly, like all this stuff and just lots of attention. And he would not give me his social media. And I happened to remember that he had sent me these pictures of things that he'd like created with his watermark on them. So I looked that name up and I came across a website that was set up for women to warn them to stay away from this man with like evidence of lawsuits and like money that he's stolen from people, things that said that he was abusive. He, and he'll try and do this and this and this to get you to do this. And it was like verbatim what he had done to me. And when I found this, he was like in my house. Like I looked up, like I'm reading this and he's sitting like right next to me. And so I had to figure out like, how do I remove him without telling him why? So I basically had to spend that night just sort of laying there in the bed like this. And then the next morning I got up and I was like, well, see you later. I blocked him. We never spoke again.
So even as you are seeing this and you're reading this, you let him stay the night.
I was not afraid of him, but based on what I was reading, and it was a lot of accounts. Like these women had gotten together to warn other women. Like just looking up his name, you could go to this one like website with links and warning people stay away from. There was a social media. I looked him up on Instagram first, and the Instagram profile that came up was like, this profile has been set up to warn people to stay away from this man. Go here for more information. And I went there, and it was a whole thing. So I was just like, you got to play it cool, because he's not showing you any of this behavior that they're talking about. In fact, he actually said that he kept saying that I was mean to him. And I was like, so I don't know. I wasn't scared of him, but then I didn't know, like, is he faking? Is he trying to, so yeah, so I let him stay the night, and that's really all we did was stay the night, like just lay there and sleep. And then the next day I was like, bye. It was so fun. Block, delete. We never spoke again.
So how long did this go on before you found out that
Not very long at all. Like I was lucky about that. It was only maybe like a week, 2 weeks. And I found out right before the pandemic happened. So I was living in LA at the time. So he was like the last guy I tried to date when I was there. And I basically he left the house, and I booked my flight to come to leave to go back to Texas where my family is from. And yeah, I never saw him again. So yeah, it didn't last very long. I got out. He didn't take any of my money, nothing like that. But everything that they said he was going to do, he tried to do with me. And I was like, all right.
So what are these things so the viewers out here would know? You don't have to put his name out there, but so these viewers would know, like, what this person's capable
just
of.
Like he was like, I just moved into town, that's why I don't have a car. I have a motorcycle, but it's in the shop. I want to he was like his pictures online were all staged. He really didn't have a job. Like he had a job, but he worked in his pictures. He looked like he was some kind of like he worked in sales, like he was a jet set. Everything was staged, but he actually worked. He was a stock boy in a grocery store, but he was like 36 years old, but he didn't want to go to work. He had hurt his back. So he'd be like, oh, I can't go in today, but whatever. But yeah, he apparently would do that. So he could come into a woman's house, move in, and then, that motorcycle he was talking about, use her money so he could do that, buy cars in women's name, stuff like that. So he basically would just show up with nothing but a smile and a handsome face and try and, take your resources. So he was on Tinder.
Oh, that was just me that typed it in there. But,
okay. Okay.
So he had a step-by-step, like a playbook that he was going to go to, like, that how
and exactly what they said that he was going to do. And when I found the blog, that is what he did. I was like, oh, okay.
So Can you give us an estimate of how many women was on this blog? Like just an estimate. A guesstimate, estimate.
If you include the women who you could look up that had lawsuits against him, it was like 3 or 4. But one woman in particular had a very detailed story that she had posted and put on social media. And so I would just say there was like 3 or 4. But when I was reading the blog or whatever, they were like, he's done this to so many people. Like you got to be aware of this man. You got to be. And so it was like, oh, okay. So I don't know for sure. I just know they said it had happened to a lot of people. And I know one woman in particular was like, here is photo evidence of, the night I escaped from him. She had this whole narrative about how her family had to come and get her out the house. And again, I'm reading all this, and this man sitting right here on my couch, he watching a movie, dozing off. And I'm like, So yeah.
Damn, it wasn't like did they put up a number on this blog? Like he took a X amount of dollars from me, or anybody put that in there? Like
they said he maxed out people's credit cards, was physically and verbally abusive, will tell you he's gonna get a job, never get a job. Every time he gets a job, he gets fired. If you look him up online, you can see why he gets fired from all his jobs. There's all these negative reviews. You can find lawsuits that credit card companies and individuals have filed against him, either for harassment or non-payment of funds. It was just, and other things, you could find it. You could find everything. Everything was out there. Yeah, but they didn't give like a specific dollar amount of anything that happened. So you see, when I watched The Tinder Swindler, I was like, man, there but for the grace of God go I, because I could have been, oh, you need help. But see, the thing with the difference between me and those women in that movie, me and this man did not like each other, because I felt like something was wrong, and I have a smart mouth. And so he would always be like, you're mean. No, I don't like you. Like, I can tell something's going on here, So with The Tinder Swindler, the difference was that these girls were in love. They were like, he's my friend. And so I think that's why my situation, it didn't go very far, because when I read that, I was like, you ain't got to say nothing else. I really don't like him.
So you didn't like him, but you was just hanging out with him.
The world was ending,
I get it. I get it. The world was ending March. I forgot. I don't know what my train ticket at, but it's March 20th, something like that. I can't remember.
March 2020. Yeah. And the world was ending, and I was like, all right, okay. And yeah, but I definitely, when they said you got to go, I was like, oh, I'm already gone. This wasn't gonna last no way. Thank you. So
okay, yeah. Long as he just swindling people, he ain't got no murders or none of that stuff under his belt, do he?
I don't know, because the weird thing, when he was at my house, the police came over for no reason, and they go, hey, we have heard of a report of somebody fighting in the neighborhood. Now, I did have neighbors who would be arguing from time to time, but I don't know. I don't know, did somebody called for them or what happened, but the police had never just shown up. And I'd lived at this place maybe like 6 or 7 months at this point. They had never just like shown up at my house. It was so random. And this dude goes, how did they find me? That's what he said. And I was like, what's that mean? Oh, and he goes, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
You're not kidding. What did you do? What did you do?
He's born and raised in LA?
Oh, no, he was a transplant and had just gotten back in town, because he was like, oh, my crazy ex, I had such a bad breakup. But, no offense, but whenever a man says a woman is crazy, it's like, how she act before you met her? What would you do? And then so he talked about this ex and how she just ran him out of town and she ganged up on him and all. And I was like, okay. But actually, in actuality, he got ran out because he got fired from every job. He was being sued. He was being like, the city basically threw him up. And for whatever reason, he came back. He came back to LA. So no, he was from some small town in the Midwest. And he also, if you asked him about his family, he wouldn't talk about his family. He was actually more like the Dirty John guy. If you've ever seen the movie Dirty John, it's on Netflix too. He was more like that dude than he was the Tinder Swindler, because he just was.
Give me some answers of Dirty John, because I'd never seen that neither. I need to.
It's the same story. Like, this woman falls in love with this man. He pretends to be somebody he's not. He comes in her life because he wants to use her. But this is a true story as well. And in Dirty John, what ends up happening is that her daughter ends up murdering him, because he like holds the woman hostage, won't let her go, won't get rid of her resources, starts stalking the family. It's a whole mess. But the point is that he was hiding his past. And so this guy was a lot like Dirty John. He was hiding his past.
Okay, I'm putting it in my phone now.
Oh, and Dirty John, they met on a dating app as well.
All right, so we got okay, that's Tinder. So that's happened. So like, I know women, and I've heard their stories as well. So they say like these dudes on these apps, they just come into your inbox like very disrespectful.
See, I have never had, maybe because my profile said I was a teacher, or maybe I don't know. But I never had, the lady who founded Bumble, she did so because she said she was tired of the way men would talk to her, or the way men talk to women. Also, when she worked at Tinder, there was like issues with sexual harassment. So she started Bumble. But when I was on Tinder, it was never like that. Like, I didn't get attacked in those, but I know it does happen, but I didn't get spoken to disrespectfully. I actually preferred it to Bumble, where I feel like I am where I felt like I was having to chase people, and it felt like writing a bunch of cover letters, that companies say they're hiring, but they're not really hiring, but you don't know until you sit there, you run all these messages and nobody
Mhm.
responds. So I actually preferred Tinder because a man could be a man and be like, hey, I'm going to talk to you. But that's because I didn't get any of the disrespect. Like they never, honestly, they were never like that. Occasionally I'd be talking to them and then they very quickly would be like, well, you got panties on, whatever. And then it was like, okay, delete. It didn't go on forever. Nobody ever said, and I see the messages. I see people post them on social media. Like I know that how it can be, but it was never like that for me. I don't know if it was my profile or what, but they never came to me salty like that. They didn't start off that way. They waited to reveal that later.
No, I'm just saying, I have a homegirl. She actually let me see her POF account before, and it was like the
Oh,
first
Plenty
thing.
of Fish is different. Plenty of Fish is different. I forgot about Plenty of Fish. That's like Plenty of Fish is like outer space to me. To me, I have, yes, they have been sideways on Plenty of Fish. I don't know why they need to run background checks on everybody that uses Plenty of Fish. That's
So,
wild.
what were some of the sideways comments that have been said on POF to you?
Oh, just like I would get these long essays about what they wanted to do. Listen, uh,
Listen,
they
you can be as vulgar as you want.
they
This is
would be so, I mean, and I would be asked if I like to to send over proof that I was a biological woman, because they were tired of what, just it's been so long. I only used Plenty of Fish like twice in my whole life, and every time it's like, I got to get off of this website. I have to go. So yes, I believe her when she says Plenty of Fish was rough. I believe her.
yeah. I mean, because she showed me the app, and when one of them was reading the message, the first thing dude just came out was just like, it wasn't even hello. He was just like, let me come over and give you some head. I'm like, what? Like, you didn't even say hello. You just entered the inbox and just was like, can I give you some head?
You know what? You had somebody here just said I had a request for feet pics. I'm lying. That happened to me too. It happened to me on Bumble. This man said, "How much would you charge to put your feet on my face while I sing to them?" He asked me to do that. And then this one guy on OkCupid, his message was just, "Want to get stoned and fuck?" That was his message. That's
What?
all he said. I'm writing a profile. I'm thinking, oh, I'm so cute. And that mess, and we like each other. Oh, what's he gonna say? Want to get stoned and fuck? That was all I got. So I was like,
And did you respond?
just delete. I didn't know what to say.
Oh,
I just
okay.
deleted it. Like, wow.
Okay.
Wow. So it has happened. Yeah, it. I get amnesia now, man. It's been so long, and that wasn't the norm. But I did get asked for feet pics, and I got asked to do that as well. So yeah.
Okay, so it's just okay. So now we got that. We've been through Bumble, we've been through Tinder, POF. So this new thing, well, it's not new. Facebook dating. I hear about this is horrid as well. Have you tried that or
I
known
haven't had a
people?
Facebook profile since 2016, so I have not tried Facebook dating. Yeah, so I haven't tried it. I don't know anything about it. But I feel like people have been dating on Facebook. People have been sending messages to inboxes. People have been like, back in the day poking folks they wanted to talk to. Like I don't feel like meeting people through Facebook is new, but I haven't done it. I haven't done it.
Okay, so when you set up these apps, like if you as a woman and you're looking at a guy, like I mean, but looking for a guy, or whatever, like how would you like them to set up their profile? Just have pictures or and a small bio, or just have a picture with no bio, or
A no bio makes me want to jump through the window and roll in glass. I hate when they have nothing on bio. Because what are we supposed to talk about? What are we? If I want to mess, how am I supposed to know anything about you outside of your face? Like, and that's, I mean, it is what it is. But how am I supposed to? Women are, at least me, I know I am emotionally motivated to talk to somebody or want to match with someone. So when someone just has a picture, it's just like, oh, he don't give a damn. Like he doesn't want to give anything. Or when they write something like, like say for job, they say, none of your business or something like that. Why isn't that my business? Are we supposed to go on dates and like actually try to have an experience together? or we, I mean, because they act like we're not going to run into situations where people don't have jobs, and like that's not going to be a problem. I mean, I get why men do it because they don't want people to maybe take advantage of them, but that gets on my nerves. And that's another like when I was using apps, I liked Bumble because men felt more motivated to put out more of an effort because women were doing the picking. That was the idea. So they would do a picture, they would have they would write out a profile. And I don't like when people, are just like, please don't talk to me if you're bitter. I'm not dealing with nobody bitter, and I don't want no baby mamas. And I can't, we don't need all of that. All of us have things we don't like, just be who you are. And I like to laugh. So I like somebody who can write like, something funny. But yeah, no profile and just a picture. That used to make me mad. Used to make me real mad.
Oh, yeah, so and then I see also they say like, you'll see on some of those women bios like if you got your shirt off, you got your money in your hand, you got liquor bottles in your hand, or like I don't know, like is that like a turn off?
I don't even know where those people are. I don't even know what that is. Where are they at? On what app is that on?
That was on POF as well.
You're on POF. Okay. POF is the wildest. It's the wildest experience. Somebody said, "What about the high value men?" Yeah, if I see that in your bio anywhere, it's like I just black out. I don't even consider. If I see that phrase, I have to go.
So I think with she, because she watched the show when we had your promo on it from the high value men. I think she want to know like, what do you consider like, do you know the high value men? Like what is this high value thing? What is this whole high value era thing that's going on?
No, I mean I think it's
Run
been,
across any high value men?
huh?
Have you run across high value men? Whatever your terms is for it.
I don't think that any man that I've ever met on a dating app would qualify as whatever that's supposed to mean. I think that that's just because men who think of themselves as being high value tend to be extremely superficial, and they're looking for a certain type of woman. And I've noticed that, like, if I have a friend of mine who, let's say she's a little taller, she's got a little bigger boobs, she's got, long hair, whatever, the people that she's going to end up matching with a lot of times would be the type of men who would say I was high value, which usually actually only means high earning because their personalities are horrible. They're just really talking about their money. Now, me personally, when I'm on a dating app, and that's one of the reasons why I got frustrated and got off, because I think it gets complicated, like with the algorithms and who you see and so far, and so on and so such. What? And whatever. But no, I actually I never met, when I was using the apps, I didn't meet a single man who would qualify in those terms. I know people did, and they did it very easily. It didn't happen with me.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. So, the high value men, because they put these questions in and I'm seeing these high value men. Like, she just said it sends women running when you hear that phrase, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, because we know how they act. We know that they think, that the sun rises and sets in their ass. And so it's like, great, you would be able to come with these resources and perhaps somebody be able to have a certain experience with you as far as like the
Mhm.
places you could go and so on and so forth. But how would you really treat her as a person? Like, what is your real personality? Is probably real bad, because usually high value men also think of themselves as alpha male. They also think of themselves as, all this other problematic, misogynistic crap. And yeah, it definitely should send women running. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So, but then I guess it goes, somebody said those are the kangs. So I'm guessing, um, trying to formulate this in my head. So I'm guessing, okay, we have that, you high value, you say you have value, and you putting these astronomical numbers out, like you said, you're putting your money in front. So I see guys go on, the internet, mainly Twitter, I should say, and they talk about, she just used me for the money, but wouldn't you think that would happen if I threw that in your face? Like I make six figures, I make seven figures, I make eight figures, and if she decides to use you for that, why would you go on, basically bitching about it on the internet? But that was your substance that you used. Instead of you, I mean, you don't have no charisma, you have no
Well,
personality.
that's why we say that the whole situation is dumb. And that's why I'm so happy that people are more vocally poking holes in it. Because for a long time they weren't, and they were using it as a as like as if people should actually pay attention to it. Like, okay, this is something that people should aspire to be, in a way people should aspire to think. And I like now that people are like, no, this is actually dumb. It doesn't mean what they think it means. It's not about bettering themselves, their whole character. It's about fitting this superficial archetype, and doing so just so that they can feel like they're better than women in some way. They really are the worst, the lowest common denominator of men that talk about themselves that way. And no, I didn't run into any of them on any dating app. In fact, if I felt like somebody was leading too much, maybe that's because if I felt like somebody was leading too much with money, then
Mhm.
I would just swipe left. Like, don't I? It was not attractive to me. I know I saw sometimes guys on like a private jet with like a with you could tell with like a cigar and like like a nice bag or whatever. Like if they're putting all that up front, I'm
Mhm.
gonna feel uncomfortable. I just know my personality. Like I'm not. That's not to me. That's not welcoming. So I would probably just like that. That's not what I want. So yeah, I get that out of there.
So, but you have these guys out here, that these preachers and these gurus that they listen to, a la, Kevin Samuels. I forgot the other guy name that we had 2 weeks ago, but he had a campaign called "Fuck Child Support." He had a whole big campaign about this.
Why would he say that?
Huh?
Why would he? Why would he
Hold on,
say that?
let me pull their names up because I can
No,
actually.
why would he say why the kids can't eat? That's horrible.
Hold on, I'm gonna read you the whole thing because I have it. I have the article saved. The article was called "My Brush with the Black Manosphere." And where's his name at? He is down here somewhere. Okay, here we go. In all parts of the manosphere, men talk about taking the red pill, a matrix reference that that indicates that have woken up to truth about women. In some corners of the black manosphere, men grumble about their very popular YouTuber Kevin Samuel and his ilk because Samuels allows the black women he berates on his show to speak at all. And his influencer lane, Mr. Palmer, has coined the term baby mama terrorist, or BMT, and his followers support fuck child support hats. They sport these fuck child support hats. Dr. Sean Thunder Wallace, a tenured professor at Ohio State University, is an influencer whose work teeters at the edge of the manosphere, beckoning in black men who want to explore further. That's the correlate. Well, that's the gang. BMT, baby mama terrorists, and they sport fuck child support hats.
I just smile because it's so funny that they feel so funny to me. That's hilarious to me. Wow, fuck child support. That's crazy. Crazy that they can separate themselves that much from the human being that they helped create and only reduce it to a financial amount. That's it. That's all it means to them. I met him the other week back here who was talking to me, and he was like, since I'm not doing apps right now, I
You
have to
breaking
meet
up,
people
Steph.
in
You
person.
breaking up.
Oh, am I? Am I still breaking?
Yeah, you breaking up. You breaking up.
Am I still breaking up now?
No, you still breaking up.
Still now?
Still breaking up.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm. Audio is choppy. Well, I mean, got my a little now.
Still a little choppy.
A little choppy or a lot choppy?
Now it got better right there.
Okay. Um. Whoop. What was I gonna say? This man basically told me I should have his baby,
To have
and
his
I well,
baby,
I'm in my late.
because the audio still choppy. You said to have his baby.
This is audio choppy
Yeah,
now.
it's still choppy.
Really? What about now?
It just popped back in and it popped back out.
Mm, okay. hard to say why that would
There you go.
be.
Now right now it went through right there. It's like when you move certain spots, it pick up, and certain spots it doesn't.
What about now?
Okay, you good now.
Okay, so I'm just saying this to piggyback of what you just said. The lighting over here. That's fine. The man, like, yeah, you should. Oh, it's choppy.
They saying it's still choppy. It was coming through clear for me, but they saying it's still choppy.
Well, drop off and come back in. Okay,
Oh.
I'll do that and try and come back.
All right, so while y'all sitting here with me for a little bit, so basically, when we talked about this manosphere thing a couple weeks ago, uh they had toxic archetypes of like the black womanhood, where they had the mammy, the black matriarch, the Jezebel, the scraggly daggle, and SYBSM parlance. The welfare mother are all well and alive in this black manosphere. So these are the type of archetypes that you have, as I explained, the black woman, the black womanhood, the mammy, the black matriarch, the Jezebel, the scraggle daggle, and SYSBM, the welfare mother, all live and well in this black manosphere that they have, that these influencers, these high value dudes supposedly have.
What about now?
You good now? To me,
What do the people say?
with how she sound out there, y'all.
Well, I don't know. I know what the head tilt is.
Do that Alicia head.
What's Alicia Keys' head tilt? Do you know what it is?
No, I just want you to tilt your head and say, "Can you hear me now?" But they saying you still choppy.
Oh, I don't know.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So you said this man wants you to have his baby, right?
I'm okay. I'm just gonna cut that story. I
Where she go? She all right? Where she go? So we got from the story was the man wanted to have a baby. To my female listeners out there, has any man just walked to you and said, "I want you to have this baby"? Straight off the muscle, just say, "I want you to have my baby." Pretty sure that it's probably been said. Yeah, Steph, you froze. You froze for a second. Uh, so anyway, back to the manosphere. The most striking aspect of the black manosphere is the immense amount of pain its content creators appear to be in. So like, I don't know if these brothers are like messed up or whatever. You back?
I'm hoping so.
She the one that got something to eat on us.
I'm hoping I'm back.
Yeah. So
No, they're operating from a place of rejection. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
No. Amy said, "Sadly, I'm back." Damn.
No, she was talking about no. The question I asked her: has any man ever just came to you and just said off the muscle, like off the break, "I want you to have my baby"? And that's what she was saying. Sadly, yes, too.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he did say that, and I asked him about it, and I said, "I feel like you already have kids," and he said, "Yeah, I do. I have 5." And I said, "Where are they? Where would they be? With their mothers? Mothers plural." And I said, "Okay, so then if we have my one lonely child, they're not going to have any siblings or anything, then we'll have 2." And was not interested at all in like staying and fathering, just wanted to have babies and drop them off and move on with his life. So when I hear things like fuck child support, that's that same attitude. And I've met a couple men like that who will come up to you and they'll just say, "Hey, we should have, you want to have a baby?" That's happened to me before. And I always ask them, I'm like, "What is your name?" Like what do you mean? And I find that they have multiple kids and they're not interested in fathering. It's just like this need, I guess, they have to spread their seed around. And so that's why when I hear things like fuck child support, I'm like, that's so funny, because it's not just about it's never about money. It's about the process of being a dad, and they're so far removed from that. And I don't understand that.
Well, I mean, it starts back at home. I mean, sometimes these men grew up without fathers in their life or no father figures, wild, crazy uncles or things like that. And they see and they go to, replicate that. Or you tend to listen to your peers who don't know just as much and just decide to do it. But I guess, I don't know. Like, that's one thing I will never say. No, you got to be your dad. If you procreate, you must take care of it. Like, it's not like the lions shit. They eat their young.
Yeah, I don't get it. Somebody posted earlier, I know you wanted to talk about this, but someone posted earlier, how about the people that go on dating apps and just look for friends?
Oh, I got the question. I was getting ready to get to that. Why do people join dating apps / sites only to say in their profiles that they are only looking for friends?
I hate that so much. That's so upsetting because, and I think it's because people have different definitions of what a friend is. So for
Hmm.
some people, a friend is very much just like a friend with benefits or just somebody that they don't have to make a priority in their life, you know? And they
Hmm.
also want the opportunity to like keep their options open as much as they possibly can. But it's really frustrating for people that are actually looking for like real partnership to run into that. Yeah, I hated that when I would see that.
So you do this and you go on there for a friend, but I put that what you just stated. You just want multiple friends, like that's like a attention seeker, like you're attention whore, basically.
Some people just use the apps too because they're bored. They just want people to talk to. I've read a lot of profiles where it's like married, looking for people to chat with. I do not plan on getting off this app. I do not, my wife, I'm happily married, or people that are in open relationships, but they don't necessarily want to be in a new one. They just want access to somebody. So I've run into that too. But yeah, definitely like the attention seeking, excuse me, is a big deal.
Yeah, but also you brought that up as well. You have those people with the open marriages. They just trying to invite another person to the room.
Yeah,
What's
that's
the
always
situation?
I try and be like, I'm not judgmental, do what you want, but that's not my thing. So whenever somebody would swipe on me and it's like, we are a couple that is looking for a third, I was that's all right. Swipe left. I'd have to swipe.
Oh, we did an open marriage show 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and it fits. I mean, do you? That's all I could say in people's relationship. Do what works for you. So if you and your spouse, husband or wife want to go into one of those numerous apps we name and just say, hey, we're not looking for anything, we're just looking to add another person. That's their choice, but you have a choice as well to swipe left or swipe right or respond to that email.
Yeah, I never respond. So you've never used a dating app then? You don't use them? You've never used them?
I've used some before. I told you I used Farmers Only. I was trying to get some crops for free, but I've used some. I think back in I started working in the department in '07. I've used Black People Meet, and I realized that on Black People Meet, a lot of people were more serious because you had to pay for that shit. So you
Yeah.
had to pay, like the ones where people pay for it, they're more serious on there. It's like I'm not gonna pay my 9.99 or 10.99 a month and not be serious. Like if we're gonna connect, we're fucking going out. Like we're gonna link up. It's not just gonna be sitting back here and just bullshitting all around. But I've learned that when they pay for it, they're gonna be more serious about what they want.
But that's what's frustrating about some of these other apps like Bumble and Tinder. I know that I would pay like the 19.99 so I could see my matches. And so I'm
Hmm.
taking it seriously, but everybody doesn't have to pay to access the app. So even though I'm taking it seriously, they might not be taking it seriously if that makes sense. So,
Well, but you have those right there, those apps as well, that you pay for, but then you have the regular apps that we use every day. You have the Twitters, you have the Instagrams, you have the Facebooks, and I didn't even know LinkedIn even turned into that shit. Like on some dating stuff like LinkedIn. So you have these free tools every day, to use for dating. Like There's multiple groups on Facebook. There's like when you rehash or retweet something, it falls through. Liking a picture. Um, what else? What was it? Yeah, liking a picture, things of that nature. People are going to use whatever they need to use. I like interacting with you, then develop an attraction other than a picture in the bio. Well, like, okay, a story I explained to my homeboy before. It's 2022. So if this was '02, using these dating apps and all these social media apps, people would think you're fucking crazy in '02. But now this is like the norm now. It's like you see when you go out, you kind of see. I don't know where you're from in Texas, but when you go out, if you do go out in Texas, you'll probably see the same people. It's 6 degrees by separation in every city. You're going to see the same people at every little event that goes on, whether it's a bar, a lounge, a nightclub, some type of event, a show. You're going to see the same people. But when you go on these apps, you have access to all 50 states and even Puerto Rico, if you want to count that as a state as well. You have all access to the world. And people set up these groups on Facebook, like you have black travel groups where there's a group where you just link up and just go travel with this person and hang out with them. So it's like all this shit is like the
Well,
norm
yeah,
now.
there's definite positives too. That's what I try and tell my friends. I try and tell people all the time, don't listen to my experiences. Like just because I had wacky wild experiences doesn't mean that you'll have them. Because I have friends that haven't been on dates in years, like 5 years. They have not been on a date, have not had any type of interaction. They go out, they do whatever, but just have not met anybody. And so I'll say, like, well, at least try it. They won't even try it. They're like stuck back in the old, and like they won't even attempt it. And I know I scare people with my story. So I'm like, please, please, please don't listen to me. One of my friends, her husband, I mean her best friend met her husband, and she's now the godmom to her best friend's baby. And they
Mhm,
both met, well, they met on match.com. But dating
mhm,
apps are the number one way that new couples meet nowadays. So even though they are a really bad experience for a lot of people, it's a really
mhm,
great experience for a lot of people. So like if I had never, race absolutely plays a factor, but the people that there's books that are written about how racist the dating app algorithms are. And there's all kinds of trends and things, like certain races and certain genders have a hard time on dating apps than others. But my friend's friend happens to be black, and black people and black women and black men meet on dating apps all the time. So I think if I had never tried it, I would absolutely be like, I'm gonna try it. But because I think I'm fatigued right now. I'm burnt out. That's all I did for like 5 years, and I can't do it no more. But it doesn't mean it's a bad way to meet people at all. And yeah, so, and I feel like wherever you're gonna meet your person, you're gonna meet them. So whether that is out and about or whether it's on a dating app, like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So,
I have friends encourage me to go on dating apps. I've signed up but never really used them. Okay, I mean some people sign up for them and they never use them as well. But it's just like, as I was saying, like 2020, 2002 versus 2022, like you just said, Stephanie. This is just the way of the world now. It's like people say they're too busy to go out, they working all the time, and
and
how
going
easy.
out is so expensive. And I mean, it's when I was just using dating apps, that was like I would go to work, I get off, I come home, and my dating was I'm sitting on my couch, I'm in my pajamas, just sending messages and setting up, a set time to go and meet somebody
Mhm,
versus, okay, we're going to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday and see who meet. And it's kind of like you said, you end up seeing a lot of the same people. And the other week back here, a guy asked me for my number, and I was telling my friend how weird he was. And she was like, girl, he asked me for my number last week. I just blocked him. So yeah, you'll meet the same people, your friends will meet the same people. It's a small world. So yeah, I think it's worth trying. If you've never tried it, it's worth trying because you never know. But also understand that it can get crazy on there.
yeah, I mean it can, and it has it all set up for everybody, every race, color, and creed. Black people for black people, white people for white people, Asians for Asians, straights for straights, gays for gays. Even with the young lady we had on last week, she said there was a HIV positive dating app, but she said she chose to use Tinder and she allowed them to know her status and they will go from there. You make your choice. But
Now, I will
there's
be honest, as a Black woman on dating apps, statistically speaking, and I hate, I just want to just be honest about that. We do have, I mean, this is like people write books about this. There is people's racial bias, innate
mhm,
racial bias does factor into uh our experience sometimes. Like I was talking to this girl one day and I said, "Yeah, so I use Bumble." And she goes, "But you're a Black woman." And I was like, okay, I feel like it's a racist app, but I didn't want to say nothing. So you feel like that too? And this was a girl from I think she was like Georgia. No, she wasn't in Georgia. She was in a completely different state, like 10 years younger than me. And she was
mhm,
like, "Oh, Bumble's racist." Like that's just what. So there is a different experience that everybody's going to have, and it also depends on your location as well.
mhm,
So like you were saying, oh, they got black people. So I'm a person who has, a bit of a more I have an open mind about who my partner can be. And
mhm.
I know that in LA, dating apps were a totally different experience than where I'm at now. Like where I'm at here, I have less matches, and it's weird because I'm in the South, but I have less matches, so on and so forth. But out there, a lot more matches, people were more open-minded in general. So it depends on your location and everything too. I think i think a lot of people do, especially after the Tinder swindler. A lot of women were like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Because how do you know? Somebody can look like they're a great match, they can look like they have their lives together, they can tell you this story, but how do you know that they're telling the truth? And then there's so many that, what happened to Lauren Smith Fields a few weeks ago, the young Black girl who went on a date with this older white man, and that he found her dead in the bed the next morning, supposedly from drug intoxication. But it's like, is that really what happened to her? And then that happened to somebody else. Yes,
I
I've heard that. I've
Black
heard
Mike been a
people
witness
get
to that.
robbed. I've heard that with couples that do like, oh, we're just looking for another, and the person comes over and that person is murdered. Like there was a guy who was meeting women just to kill them through Tinder, like that happened. So yeah, so there's a lot of dangers. There's- it really is like flipping a coin. Like you never know.
Have you
Somebody,
ever been in any danger besides what you told us about old boy and his situation? Like he
I've
was
been
really
very
bad.
blessed because I've been stupid. I've been very like things could have happened.
Have you
I
ever
look
flew
back,
to meet somebody?
huh?
Have you ever flew to meet anyone?
No, 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 no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Would you
No.
do it?
If I was being paid for, because I'm retired from extending my resources and things to men for any reason. So I'm retired. If I was, but I don't like long distance because that means we usually have to be like real high priority to each other to keep it going. It puts more
Mhm,
pressure on the connection, in my opinion. So like if I'm worried about somebody, like when I was living in LA, if I'm
mhm.
worried about somebody 40 minutes away not being able to put out effort, like, oh, he got to drive to see, I don't know if he's going to do it. Oh, forget somebody 4 hours away, 6 hours. We got to get on a plane to see each other. I just feel like it puts so much more pressure on the connection. But if that man was like, I'm gonna send you a ticket, but then I'm scared of when I get there. Like, what's it gonna be like? Does he have roaches in his house? Like, what do I've gone to people's houses before, and we've gone to sleep and they sleepwalk the whole night. Am I going to get murdered in the house? Like is it what's going to happen? Am I going to meet their friends and be like, somebody help me, get me out of here? Like, am I going to have enough money to get home, if I have to buy a ticket like real quick? I don't know. So I would have to know him for a while to like fly out to meet anybody. I'd have to.
Well, I had a friend, and she flew to my city. She met this guy in her city, and he flew her out. First and foremost, he flew out here on Spirit. So I was like, wow, that's crazy off the rip. So and she know, and if she's watching, I'm not gonna say your name, but you know how I get down about Spirit. If it's over 2 hours, I can't do it. I need Wi-Fi, I need TV. I'm not trying to pay 450 for some water. Well, that's another story about the water, and I'll explain that later. But he flew her out on Spirit, and she said everything was cool. He had a nice little he didn't want to stay at his house, so he got a hotel downtown. So they stayed at the hotel downtown, and I was like, well, as she's explaining this to me at the end of the night, because what happened was they went out. If you're from Baltimore, they went to Melba's. They had some drinks, and this is where the shit went crazy at in Melba's, because she was actually just then a guy was like trying to dance with her. Melba's a nightclub, so he was trying to dance with her, and the dude just went on this rage and got fucking really jealous, like, yo, you're fucking with me, blah blah blah. I get all that, she's out with you, blah blah blah. But she said she wasn't even really like dancing facetious or nothing like that. She was just doing a two-step. Got upset. They got to arguing outside on Greenmount Avenue, Greenmount 32nd. For those in Baltimore know exactly what that's at. So they out there arguing. So she catches a cab back to the hotel. And this is like day two she's here. Day two or three she's here. So she catches the cab back to the hotel. She takes the key, locks herself in the room. He goes to the hotel, front desk, and gets a key to go in the room or whatever, because his name is on the room. So he goes in there, whatever. And so basically he just explains to her, like, I spent all this money to get you out here. You want to go to a club and you want to act up with other men, and you've been here for 3 days, and I didn't pay for all this food and all this stuff, and I still ain't got nothing. I'm like, this is day three. So I'm like, wow. So me, how I got the story, because I was home and I was watching TV in the middle of the night. This is about 3 a.m, and like my phone rung and I saw a number pop up. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm thinking, like, you live on the West Coast, so you like, okay, it's 12 over there. You probably just coming out somewhere. You probably just see what the hell I'm doing. She's crying. And I'm like, the fuck are you crying for? So she's telling me like bits and pieces, like this guy has her locked in the hotel room. He won't let her out or whatever and shit like this. So she like, I need you to come get me. And I'm like, first, where are you at? And she like, I'm in Baltimore. She explains where she's at. So I go get her. I actually went and got her and brought her back to my crib and was like, yo, how the fuck did all this happen? And she was just like, when I met him in person, he was a nice guy. We stayed in contact with each other. We just kept talking and talking and talking. He decided to bring me out here. And when I got here, everything just kind of changed. And I'm like, changed why? And she was like, because I didn't give him any. I'm like, those parameters should have been already set before you got here.
I'm very I'm sorry. The
Go ahead,
parameters.
Go ahead, I'm done.
It makes me so uncomfortable when men offer over certain things. And I know I'm not I don't want to sound like I just get I don't trust the intentions. I don't trust, like, where is this coming from? What do you want? Like, never, you have a lot of people who are just like, whatever, he'll give me whatever, but I don't like to accept gifts. I don't like, because I don't know where it's coming from and what you're going to want in exchange. And I don't feel, and I don't cancel me, but I don't feel that a man is wrong for being like, hey, I'm doing this, you do this, only because that is a tale as old as time. Men
Right.
show, financial, acumen, they show fiduciary responsibility, and women do ... And if you're going to let him do ABCD for you, it's like you said, those parameters need to be in place. It needs to be brought up. How are we handling the sex thing? Because it is tale as old, like it's ingrained in our psyches at this point. And I get so like, the only man that I accept things from with no, like, I don't even question it, is my dad. That's right. It. Anybody else, I'm like, what is this for? I am always questioning it. And I think also in my situation, I haven't been in a lot of situations where people have offered a lot, like this young lady here who's saying they offered to take her to Aruba, and she said up front, hey, you're not doing it. I think that's what you have to do. You have to say, hey, up front, I'm not, because I think a lot of men too just want the social company, hey, if I'm down somewhere with a pretty girl or but when I hear stories like that, I'm like, I feel so bad for her, because it's obviously very scary. But at the same time, I'm like, they don't do nothing for for free. Like there's no free lunch. So even if he's like, I'm doing this, he's not just doing it out of I don't know. You gotta, like you said, you gotta set the parameters. That is so. Oh, we had to beat him down. Damn. Oh, okay.
Tell her stop.
Wow.
That's my
Okay.
big sister right there. She's crazy, and these are true
Oh,
stories.
no, I believe it. I believe it. And here's the thing: like, if you're, I met this guy at a casino earlier this or last year, and I was like, "Are you here by yourself?" And he said, "No, I'm here with this girl I met off Hinge." And I just offered to bring her out because we were out like in the back with like the pool and the bar and stuff. He's like, I offered to bring her out here, and it was a nice like little resort or whatever. And he's like, "This is our first date." I said, "Damn, that's a lot for the first date." And I'm looking around, and this girl's drunk, and she's like kissing other people like in the area. And I was like, "Are
Mm.
you? I said, we don't owe each other anything. We're not, it's fine with that whole thing or whatever, right?" So I was talking to him, and she came over to me all drunk, and she was like, "I see you in his face, but that's okay because he's not my man." And I was like, "All right." And I walked away. I look over, they're making out. They're doing what are you guys doing? What's the protocol? But I talked to this man for like 3 hours. We were hanging out for a while, and he was always looking over his shoulder for this girl. And finally I was like, "You know what? I'll just let you have her." But situations like that, I'm just like, well, why would you? I don't know. It gets murky with the invitations and the gifts, and I'm gonna treat you and fly you out and take you. Like you said, parameters have to be in place. And yeah, all that stuff makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean,
Really.
yeah, I get it because I was once told by one of my old heads, like, yo, if you cross state lines to go see her, she should already know what it is. I'm like, yeah, that could be true, but you need to ask because how is this going down? It's like I'm coming over here, we're gonna do what? If you say I'm not getting any, let me make my decision to say no, we're not doing anything, so I won't come. If I don't want to come, I won't come. If I'm coming for that, I at least want to know I'm coming for that instead of just going over there and getting mad and throwing shit and doing all other type of shit and end up with charges or some bullshit. you know but on the other standpoint too, you women are slick too, because the fact is, when y'all going to these places and we taking you places, y'all plan that shit around your period. Make sure that doesn't pop up.
Why would you want to be somewhere with your period happening? I mean, that's just basic. That's just basic.
You plan it around it. You plan
You
it
don't want
around
to listen. I mean, why would you want somebody to have to deal with that? That's just a courtesy in case something does happen. We don't have a that's not a problem. So I
it.
mean,
I definitely get you. I mean, back in my youthful days, I'll be 40 in 2 months, but back in my youthful days, only thing that period stopped was a sentence. If you get what I'm saying, that was the only thing it stops.
thank you. That's good
Back
to
in my youthful days, but I
mm.
got thrown out the country and had a room in my name. Y'all
That's
getting
cool.
flown all over the places.
I think that's cool. At the end of the day, like even though it makes me uncomfortable, it's never been offered. So I'm just like, I'm touchy about it for no reason. But I hear people say all the time, "Hey, I got flown out. This is what I did. It was fine. Hey, it was fine." So I mean, I say to each his own. Like, do what works for you. Um, but yeah, conversations definitely need to be had. And yeah, having your own room, someplace you can go by yourself, like that's very important, because she was lucky she had you, that she could call a friend and be like, "Hey, this is happening to me, come pick up," and that you're the type of person to come pick her up, because that didn't have
Well,
to be
at
her.
first, I'm not even gonna say a lie. At first, I was like, I was in my mind like, I ain't gonna get her ass. That's on her. But then I thought about it. I said, damn, she got two little kids. Let me go get this girl. Like, I don't want nothing to have something happen to her and, be on my conscience that I didn't go do it. So I went up and I got up. I put my Amsterdam drink down and went and got her. I was drinking it. So I just went and got her. What is having a passport now a requirement for dating?
I think it depends on who you date. Depends on who you date.
Mm. But I mean, but like back to what we were saying, yeah, you got to make sure when you're doing these things like dating on apps and you're being flown out, and it's cool to, like, I know a lot of people don't want people in a business, but it's best for you to let somebody know where the hell you want it before you end up on Snapped or Fatal Attraction.
I love Fatal Attraction.
I know I watch it every week, but I watch it every day at 1 o'clock, and I watch it on Mondays as well.
It's a good show. It is a good show. It's better to me than Dateline. Like, they get in there. It's a good show. Woo, Lord.
You can walk through the mud. You can fuck through the blood. On that note, see, right now you've reached the part of the show right now, Stephanie, where we have this thing called "I'll be." If you don't have a passport, he's going to Miami you to death. You reached the portion of the show where we have this thing called "I'll be damned," and we take that somebody writes me in, and I tell a story, horror stories about dating, and after this, I'll let you go ahead and break it down what happened. So, brother, for real, if you can cue that up. This is "I'll be damned," and it's pretty cool. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of "I'll be damned." So we're taking this to the city. For those who don't know what the city is, New York City, Manhattan. She hits me like. Let me rewind it back because it's still freezing. Episode of "I'll be damned." So we're taking this to the city. For those who don't know what the city is, New York City, Manhattan. She hits me like, "Yo, Rod." So I was bar hopping with one of my girlfriends, and it just so happened to be sitting next to a group of guys at the second bar we visited. Of course, the ugly one, less attractive one, decided to scoot his chair closer to mine to get to talk to me. "Get away from me, you gargoyle." I quickly informed this gentleman that I was actually checking out his more attractive friend. And fortunately, he was nice enough to switch seats so that I could get closer to his friend. Hallelujah. See, now this brother was not hating at all. She said she wasn't attractive. He took one for the team. He just slid over and said, "All right, my boy can get her." All right, anyway, back to the story. We had a great conversation, and I was really feeling this guy, the cute one. As the night drew to the close, the cute friend asked for my number, and of course I gave it to him. A couple of weeks went by, and I had pretty much forgotten about the cute guy from the bar because he never called. So I thought, and I just assumed he wasn't interested, until I noticed an unfamiliar number on my phone several nights in a row at 3 a.m. each night. Who the F is blowing up my phone at some damn 3 a.m.? Rest in peace, Biggie Smalls. Who the hell is this? Paged me at 5:46 in the morning. But she said, who the F is blowing up my phone at some damn 3 a.m.? I went through my mental Rolodex, tried to figure out who I needed to curse out for calling me at some 3 a.m. on multiple occasions. But I had no clue who it could be because the person never left a message. I don't do phone calls in the wee hours of the morning. If A, I don't know you like that, and B, it's not an emergency. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Anyway, I decided to go out on the limb and Google the number to get some answers, and surprisingly, a name came up. It was the cute guy from the bar. Yay, he finally called me, but why the F was he calling me so damn late? So once I figured out who it was, I did what normal folks do nowadays. I looked him up on Facebook, and guess what? I found him. He was looking just as fine as I remember him at the bar, but there was only one problem. Suspense moment. The motherfucker was engaged. Fuck my life. His profile pic was of him and his fiance, and it said engaged to fill in the blank on his page. Ain't that some shit? I know why you kept calling me at 3 a.m., you lying, cheating bastard. I be damned. See you next week. So how would you handle that right there?
I've that's a story that I have not personally lived it, but I've had friends that have lived it. The second I heard about the calls coming in at those random times, I said it's either he's cheating or his his wife has seen her number and she's calling, because that's what happened to a friend of mine. A friend of mine was getting calls late at night from a number that she from this man's cell phone number. She was like, why is he doing that? And eventually one day she answered, like they called during the day. And she was like, what's going on? You be calling me at night, but hello, Barbara, this is Shirley. That's basically what happened, where the wife was the one calling. It was like, I see your number on his phone. One guy, my friend met one guy and he told her, I'm single and I don't have no kids. I don't have no kids. And his wife ended up contacting my friend and she was like, hey, we're in the process of getting a divorce. He's a sociopath. He's a liar. He has a daughter. She is a newborn baby. I don't know why he's saying that. Like, he said, we still live together. I saw your name on his phone and I knew he was doing it again. So some men are just, some people are just cheaters like that. But when you said that, the calls coming in at that late hour, I was like, this man cheating. He's either doing it or his wife is like, or his partner is letting her know that he's already in something. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that sucks because you be so excited. Like, she was so excited. I met this man. I'm so attracted to him. And it sucks when you hear about it. But yeah, I said, oh, this sounds like what happened to my friend.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. You said she had a Barbara Shirley moment. Come to me as a woman moment.
That's happened to her multiple times where she goes out and men are like, yeah, I'm single. I'm not dating nobody. And the dude who went, she said he went out of his way to be like, and I don't have any kids. I don't have not one kid. No kids for me. And his wife was like, we got kids. I'm gonna send you pictures of them kids. They exist. I don't know why he lies like this. Like, it's crazy. Crazy.
So I seen this earlier before you go, because we've been already past the threshold of time. Before you go, when you meet these men, I mean, when you start interacting with them, because somebody put it in earlier that they run case search on them.
I don't even know what that is. I can Google it. I don't even know what case search is.
Oh, case search basically tell you like all the charges that this man and been through, like he has a criminal record or anything like that. Somebody said that in the beginning of the show, and it just dawned back on my head that she was like, yeah, that's why I use case search.
Okay. Yeah, one of my friends did have to do this for somebody because they went on one date and then all of a sudden she couldn't locate him anymore. And he said, oh, my car, he was basically describing a situation that sounded like insurance fraud. And he said he was single and she felt like he might not be single. So she looked him up and he was actually still married and he had lied about his job, all this other stuff. So I've never done it. I've never looked anybody up, but now I'm a bookmark this case search.
Told the secrets out here though, but background checks. Somebody said background checks. I think it was one other question that was asked before we go. I think I seen it in here somewhere. A lot of these women profiles say that you need to be passport ready.
I think it depends on who you wanted. I know a lot of people that are just, I feel like everybody's in a different level when it comes to dating. Like I said, I know people that haven't been on a date in 5 years and they just want to get, I mean, one of the dates I went on, one of the last dates I went on, I got left at the restaurant because I asked him about his job too many times. And because he made t-shirts for a living. And yet he was like, look at all these luxury cars I have. I just bought a home. And so I was like, and you make t-shirts? And the shirts weren't good. Like the shirts were, whatever. But I was trying to like have a conversation with him and it seemed like he was having a good time. And I was trying to work through it. I was like, he might be a little bit of a dummy, but I'm trying to do it. And then he gets a phone call and stands up in the middle of the date and runs out of the restaurant and never comes back. And so I get a text like maybe 30 minutes later, my daughter broke her legs. I'm at the hospital. That's all he said. And I had to pay for everything and like leave the restaurant and drive home. So I think for me, when you talk about women's profiles that say have a passport ready, I'm like, have a child whose legs won't just shatter in a million pieces and have a real job. Like, I think everybody like has different experiences. And some of us are just trying to get the basics done. Like, do you have a job? Are you a reasonable person? Are you healthy? Are you mentally like healthy? Actually, he wasn't lying, but he did tell people that we knew mutually that he was uncomfortable because I kept asking about his money. But he kept saying how much money he had, but he wouldn't tell me what his actual job was. It was a but I think some of us are just looking for somebody good to build a foundation with. And we're like, if we can do that, yeah, we can go on a trip and do whatever. But then you have people who they've been flown out. They have this experience. So they're going to write in their profile, have a passport ready. And I think, you have to date people who you have to just try and find what your best match is based on your experience and your expectations. Yeah, because we can always work together to get you a passport, because you just may not have had time to travel a lot. But I'm more worried about, do you have a job? Do you already have a wife? Do you have 5 kids sprinkled around the country? So I'm a little different. So yeah.
Does the job matter?
Yes.
I mean, I know the job. I'm sorry, but can he work anywhere?
No.
So where
Because life is expensive. You see, when I was living in California, I was working 3 different jobs, and then people want to come up and be like, and I stock at the grocery store. And so it's like, okay, so how can we really come together and in this economy, why is that and nothing's wrong with somebody, working at a grocery store. I don't have any whatever, but I know that I want to own property. I know I want to meet somebody who can help me with the mortgage, who can help. Life is expensive. Things are expensive. So can he work?
I had on this show that says she's willing to do 50-50. You said help me with the mortgage.
But you know what I said earlier? It depends on your experience. I would be a fool to be like, no, yeah, he got to pay for everything. I just want to sit at the house. What? I've never known that life, and I'm in my late 30s. So I'd be a fool to be like, when I say the bar is in hell, I'm talking about, are you financially, like, can I look at your bank statements for the past 2 years and not see any skips and see that you are responsible, just like I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't ask for more than what I do. And I've been doing a lot. And I don't even do that much, actually. You know what I mean? Like, I like to think I'm competent. Are you competent? That's my whole thing. So when people talk about,
that though.
Huh?
I said, we're going to clap it up for you for that, for you being the first woman on here to say that you do 50-50.
No. I don't mean like I pay for half the dates. I don't mean that. That's not what I mean. I mean, skips like in your employment. I know we just came back from the pandemic, so people lost jobs, and it's a little bit different now, a little bit different. But when I look, yes, comfortable. There you go. I don't want to get in a situation and be like, oh, I got to trouble, because I've been there before where I'm like, oh, he's just going through a hard time right now. I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again.
You don't have to pay for the part of the dates, but do you pay though sometimes? Like you just say, I want to take my man out tonight. Do you?
Oh, my love language is gift giving. My number one. You'll match me, but don't come here with the basics. I'm not that, with the bare minimum. Don't come to bare minimum and then be like, if I ask you for something, or if I ask you to do what I'm doing, oh, you want too much. You women want too much. No. You're gonna match what I'm doing. Well, you're gonna match what I'm doing.
No, I believe in you right there, because I have a saying, and my goddaughter knows this. She's 25. She's probably watching right now. She's 25, and I've told her, go ask that nigga you fucking. If he can't help you, you don't need to be fucking him. Then that's just plain and simple. If you're having sex with somebody and they can't help you at a tough time, you should not be doing it.
And then it's also the attitude, because I believe it's all about a want to. It's all about, like, what do you want for your life? What's your vision for your life? So I don't care if you're stocking groceries in the back, but if you do, are you working towards management? We're trying to retire. What does your 401k look like? Like, what are you trying to build? Are you comfortable with stagnation? Because I'm not. I don't mind if that's where I meet you, but is that where you're comfortable staying? Then we're not compatible. We're not. That's just, yeah. And also, some men will have it. They can help you, but they don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they won't want to share with you. So it's not even a lot of times about resources. It's about, what does he want to do? because that really reflects how much of a priority he thinks you are, how much a priority he thinks the relationship is. I have seen dudes, like, I'll never forget, I was in college. We were all working at the TV station at college, making minimum wage. And this dude started dating this girl, and she was like, well, for Christmas, I'd really like the new Coach purse. Man, this man was taking extra shifts. He was like, I might have to get a different job. I don't know. Maybe if I can move, I want to make sure she's able to have a good Christmas. And I'm like, must be nice. That's nice. Like, he didn't have it necessarily, but she said, I would like this, and he was going to work to figure out how to get it for her. So it's not always a matter of like what he has when you get there. It's like, how willing is he to do what needs to be done to help you all build the life you want to build together? Because again, I would do it for him. I'm going to do it for and a lot of the women I know, that's how they think. We always sit back and just laugh like, oh, if these fools only knew. All they got to do. And they don't be doing it. But that's all right. That's all right. So I'm surprised that you say I'm the first woman that said whatever you thought is that, because I just don't think that's true. I think a lot of women are like, I don't have a problem doing ... Yeah, she was 19. She was 19 when she asked that. That just stuck in my mind because I was like, this boy is broke. And he is working his butt off to make sure she has, this bag that we thought was so expensive at the time. But I know a lot of women who are like, all I ask for is what I'm willing to do, and I do everything in my life, for my friends, for my family. I'm phenomenal. You need to be phenomenal as well.
Well, I mean, because we are coming out of this season where a lot of people they were homeless during the winter. It's getting ready to get warm now. So this is a new day and age right now where people start acting up. It's summertime. That's just a good enough reason. 70 degrees, people start showing up. 40 degrees, people shack up. They do what they do because they need a place to stay for the winter. This is men and women. But once that 70-degree day hit, it's like everybody want to show their ass and do other things now. You kind of break up because you want to have your hot girl summer. You want to have your hot boy summer, whatever the hell you choose to do. That's just people do.
Yeah, I think sometimes we all can give ourselves to the wrong people. That's definitely. I've done that. Lots of us have shown up and given our best to the wrong people. And so and that's what I think earlier you were talking about the manosphere. You were like, these men, like, they're hurt. That is something that I think everybody who can objectively look at what they're talking about, you're like, damn, these fools, they need to go somewhere and be told that they're loved. They need to address like that wound. Who hurt you? Who did this to you? Who, like, you think of baby mamas as terrorists, who garnished your wages to pay for something and then it didn't go to the baby. It went instead to ... Who did this to you? You need to process that initial injury and come back a little bit better. But I think a lot of people can identify with, I gave my best to a situation and it didn't work. And so now I'm confused, and I think the answer is not to not give your best. It's just to find the right person to offer that. Yeah, like the right person. That's true. Or they have missed wrong one time and they be burnt. Ooh, they get burnt. And so when somebody comes around that's like, okay, I just need you to do a little bit. Y'all need too much. Because I've heard this. I've heard these speeches and I'm like, I'm not who you're mad at. I just asked for, okay, whatever.
So, well, it's all good. But, we got to wrap it up because it's already been an hour and 30. But, you always welcome back. And I'm pretty sure they're going to want you back.
Thanks for having me. Sorry the internet was so bad. I got to get a new thing. This thing came free with apartment and it takes me hours to upload anything. It's a pain. So I'm like over here on the floor, like huddled by the router right now. But anyway, sorry about that.
I mean, I watch your page and anything I find that's, interesting, I can bring you back as always if you want to come back. I had to apologize for ex-boyfriend.
Oh yeah, everybody's real bad about that. I've done that to somebody before. I've shown up all banged up and bruised and taking it out on someone who didn't deserve it. Absolutely. That's what the hardest thing about all this stuff is like finding someone who you're healed enough and they're healed enough or whatever. You're ready. They're like, you guys are on the same page. Like that's hard. That's hard.
I mean, but we're human. We're human.
Yeah.
we're human. So, we take things out on people that we shouldn't take things out on, because you start to see, you start to have PTSD. You start to see flashes of old shit that start to happen, even though it might
That,
not even be
that
the
dating
same.
trauma is very real. That dating trauma is very real. Like relationship and people don't always take it serious because they're like, I just got to get over it. I just got to get over it. But like, you don't get over it, and you can't. Like, you can get triggered like by little things. It's like, hey, they used to always wear a purple shirt. A guy came up to me once, was like, I can't talk to you. Like my ex-wife who did. He was so mean to me, and I was like, I'm not your ex-wife. I didn't do that stuff to you, man. So
Well, a young lady said that to me. She was like, I can't deal with you because of your last name. My ex used to have your last name. I'm like, I don't know that nigga. Like, we're not family. I
I do
don't know.
that to people named David. Get away from me. I'm better now, but I was for a long time. Like if your name was David,
Mm.
get
But
away.
this is the thing, though. What happens is, though, in this, and before we go, in this dating game, though, people just seem to go from the next to the next to the next and don't give themselves time to heal. Like, take some time out for yourself. Figure out who you
That's
are.
because people get very horny. That's what I think that is. And so you're not always thinking like with your right mind. You're thinking with your other parts. And so you're not taking the time to like emotionally process because your body's like, I don't want to do that. Well, at least that was my issue for not anymore. Anymore. As
Well,
I've gotten older, I've calmed down. But back in the day, I didn't take any time for myself. I would just rush from one situation to the next.
but see, this is the thing, though. The difference between men and women about that, when they you said they get horny, like, women will go backwards to to fill that need with a guy that they've done it with. They don't want to add nobody new. They'll go backwards and find somebody back in the day, like you said, David. You might go back and find David for a reason. Men
No,
think, like,
no,
I'll
no,
go
no.
get new coochie
I'm
to get
I'm
over.
different. I'm different in that regard, or I was different. I did not want any reminder. Get out of I've got
Right.
to watch that. Again, this is me in the past, not me now, but I've got to get that off of me. Like I got to no, I need something else. I don't need yeah, I was different. I can't because I'm trying to erase the memory, I'm trying to reintroduce a new memory to the system. That's how I used to operate. Yeah. But then it was just like you're introducing a lot of bad memories. You gotta take a break. You gotta process. So
I
that's what I
mean,
did.
hey,
Very proud of
as
myself.
I always say, to quote Bobby Jones, when it's cold outside, girl, who are you holding? That's what you
I
say.
never mind. I have a wonderful set of blankets, and I'm very comfortable, in myself now. So yeah.
I get it, but if you want to watch 6 shows back, 6 or 7 shows back, I think Jazz just showed up. PressureToys.com. She has all the toys that anybody ever need. We had Bobby Womack. Yeah, we had a sex toy show, and she introduced us to the Throat Goat 3000 and a bunch of other shit that we saw.
There. What is that? I'll look it up. I'll look it up. That could be a good one. I'll have to look that
Pressure.
up.
Yeah, it's Pressure Toys, PressureToys.com. There you go, right there in the
Coach, what? This is
yeah.
what.
So, what you gonna say?
Oh, never mind what I was gonna say. That's for me to do my research on. Interesting. Oh, it's for men. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
10 vibration, end of sleep. But what is okay? Now I'm on crazy. Oh, that's not what I thought it was at all.
Yeah, we
Okay.
call it the Nancy Reagan.
Oh, ha ha ha. Yeah, Nancy. Yeah. Well, good for her though. She had a talent. That's good. It's good to have a talent.
There she go
So,
right there. There's Jazz.
pressure toys. Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up
Yeah,
because I
Jazz will
am
be
tired of
back on
getting
the show
bamboozled
shortly.
by Amazon. These little cheap things.
Yeah, she has it
Ooh.
all. She has the roles and all of that stuff. But you can look that up on,
Oh,
she'll be back on. But thank you for coming. We
no
had definitely had
problem.
a wonderful time for you, and you're always welcome. Yeah, IG Pressure Toys. Um,
Cool.
you always welcome to come back anytime you just want to hop on, say hey, talk to the people. You want to share do a I be damn for me, you can. It's fine. You're always welcome, Miss Stephco.
Well, thank you for having me. I will see you another time. Bye bye.
All right. See y'all next week, people. There wasn't anything else